got it.
Hello. This is a discussion video or a thoughts on video. I haven't done one of these in actually a while, but inevitable, right? I beat Psychonauts 2, so yeah, I'm going to talk about it. Whoa, surprise. I'm going to talk about why this game is so good and why I love it so much and why it's been a while since I've experienced a game like this, so yeah. So I'm not going to spoil it for anybody wondering. I might talk about like gameplay mechanics, but story-wise, I'm not going to spoil it. The story is good, but, you know, not important to what I'm going to talk about. So, just to get my history with the series on, I'll square it away immediately. So I think back in 2011, I played Psychonauts 1 on PC, I remember. I played it on, I think it was Good Old Games, actually. And I used a mouse and keyboard to play it. And I loved it. I fucking loved it. It was so cool at the time because I felt like I had exhausted like 3D platformers of that time, because this was before the resurgence somewhat of recently of 3D platformers in the last, like, you know, 5 or 6 years. So there was like nothing around. You know, if you wanted a 3D platformer, you had to get something on like the PlayStation 2 era or the N64 era. And I thought I had like exhausted all those games for the most part. I mean, there were ones that I knew about that I hadn't played. And I knew Psychonauts existed, but I never had played it. When I played it, I was so happy. It felt like something that I had missed from my childhood, like something I would have loved when I was younger. I mean, I was only like probably like 15 or 14 at the time when I played it, but I would have loved it when I was like 8 or 9, you know? It would have been such an important game to my childhood if I had played it back then. And it was just so good. It wasn't like I was demanding a sequel or anything, but I was always like super into the idea of Psychonauts 2. It was one of those pipe dream things. And then they announced it probably a few years later, probably in like, I think it was like 2015 or something. And oh my God, I was so excited. They had like a Kickstarter thing, which I didn't end up donating to because I think it got its goal really fast and I just didn't have money at the time to do that. So I didn't bother doing that. But I was excited. I was on board with it. And the more they showed, the more I got more and more excited. I kind of had forgotten it was coming out for a while. Then they showed a trailer like 2 years ago and I was like, oh my God. And then the last few months leading up to this game have been so exciting. I've been like shaking with excitement. And it has been so long since I've had a game that has made me that excited, probably since Mario Odyssey. And I might be talking about Mario Odyssey a bit in this video because my experience with Psychonauts 2 reminds me of how I felt when I played Mario Odyssey for the first time. So there might be some, you know, parallels. But yeah, when I first saw Mario Odyssey in action, watching that trailer gave me so much excitement. And the trailer with Jack Black with Psychonauts 2 made me so fucking excited. It kind of had re-triggered why I like Psychonauts so much in the first place. I mean, it was always a game that I liked and I would recommend to people, but sometimes you tend to like, your memories of it are nice, but you kind of forget the intricacies of why you liked it so much. But that trailer reignited those memories and why I love that game so much, why I love the original so much. And it was in that trailer. So I was like, oh my God, this is going to be amazing. Like, they're going to nail this. Like, it's going to happen. It's going to be crazy. And I was so excited. And it was like butterflies in my stomach waiting for this game. But yeah, I had the similar feeling with Mario Odyssey. I watched that trailer about 1,000 fucking times. I was so excited for that game. And it was like butterflies in my stomach leading up to its, release. And that's fun. I'm glad I can still get that, you know? Sometimes I feel like I'm kind of cynical with video games when it comes to new video game releases. And I tend to experience them very, how would I word this? Very like, I don't know. I feel like that blissful joy is somewhat gone. I experience it much more like, I don't know, strictly, I guess. I don't know what the word for that is. And I wish I could experience it more like loosely, more like just a cool experience that makes me feel like whimsical and fun and like surprised and excited. And like Mario Odyssey made me feel like that. But I think it's funny because a lot of times the genre helps a lot. 3D platformer lends itself so much to what I love about games like that. It's a combination of most of the time strict like platforming challenges mixed with exploration and collectibles and stuff that keeps you excited, power-ups, you know, stuff like that. Mario Odyssey had all those fun costumes. So I think Psychonauts 2 gives me that again. Like, again, so when I played Mario Odyssey for the first time, it filled me with this like blissfulness that I like didn't want it to end per se. It was like I loved it. I loved every minute of it, and I can say the same exact thing for Psychonauts 2. It's just it's one of those games. It's one of those games that I was so excited for, and they lived up so much. I don't really get that excited like that for games unless I like my brain like can look into the future or something, can know it's gonna be good. Like, of course it's gonna be good. Like, you know it's gonna be good. Like, if you worth getting excited for. It's like recently I also played The Great Ace Attorney 2, which I'm still working through. A little different experience, but you know, I knew that game was gonna be good. The first game was amazing, so I was really excited to play the second one. I could play it any time though. It wasn't like this crazy thing that I had to wait for. But it's nice to have these games that I'm just confident about, you know? There are games that come out that I'm not 100% sure of. You know, I was like kind of excited for the new Paper Mario when that came out, but like, you know, who knows? Maybe it wouldn't like it, you know, stuff like that. It gets a little weird. Metroid Dread is going to be one that it's going to be like, I'm going to be like giddy and shaking to play that game when it's coming out, which is like in a month. I keep forgetting. I'm not going to get one like absurd excitement at a time, okay? I'm still processing Psychonauts 2. Anyway, back to what I was supposed to be talking about. So this game is such a good sequel, like pitch perfect sequel, like one of those sequels that you can't really think of anything that you would recommend the first one over it with. It's like they took every aspect of the original and added onto it or fixed it or something. Because, you know, it's funny, recently I kind of have a fresh brain of Psychonauts 1 because my girlfriend's been playing through Psychonauts 1. I actually got the game physically for a very good deal, by the way, for the PlayStation 2, sort of recently. And I was like, and I told her like, oh, we should play it. Like, you should play Psychonauts 1 because the second one's coming out soon. She's been working through it kind of slowly, so she hasn't beaten it yet. She was actually playing it yesterday when I was playing Psychonauts 2 yesterday. I beat it this morning, by the way. She was playing it last night when I was playing Psychonauts 2. It was kind of funny having like, because I have like a CRT next to my like big screen TV, so like the little TV was playing Psychonauts 1 and the big TV was playing Psychonauts 2. It's kind of cool. It's like one of those moments, you know. I should have taken a picture. I think she took a picture, but I don't know if she might have taken like a Snapchat for somebody. I was like, I should have taken like a video or something of it. Would have been really charming. Yeah, actually, speaking of, I actually moved my computer into the living room, which I'll get to in a second because of how I bought the game. But anyway, back to, I've been fresh eyes of Psychonauts 1 for the most part. Like, it's fresh in my mind because I've been watching my girlfriend play it. And that game is janky. It's a good word for it. It's not bad at all. I think it's good. I think it's a good game with a lot of good things going for it. But it is very janky. And there's things about it that I feel janky. And she was like getting stuck on some things. So I was like helping her like just see if I could figure out the platforming like mechanics at that moment. And I was like playing it, and I was like just playing it right after I played Psychonauts 2, and I was like, oh my god, it's so much looser in some ways, but like not in a good way, more in like they just kind of like, this is just not thrown together, but it feels like a B grade platformer, something like a licensed game or something, which in some ways it does feel like too, because it feels like a cartoon. Saturday morning, but you know, like a Nickelodeon cartoon from back in the early 2000s or something. It really does feel like that, and it's not just Raz's voice. It's like a lot of things. Just the style and the humor and everything is very much like some, you know, kind of darkish sort of cartoon, like Billy and Mandy-esque kind of thing, you know. Yeah, but that game just has this weird sense of like jankiness to it that Psychonauts 2 fixes. And then some. And same with the level design. The level design in Psychonauts 1 is cool and original and very unique, but it also doesn't lend itself super well to its gameplay sometimes. I remember there was plenty of times in Psychonauts 1 where I'd do something and I was like, was I supposed to do it that way? Like, I don't even know if that was how I was supposed to do it, but I did it, and like, I still never knew if that was the way I was supposed to do it. Which is fun, which leads to, you know, stuff like sequence breaking. But the point is, I don't know if there was an intended way. I was like, is this just a really intense, janky platform challenge that I just somehow figured out? Or is this like the game wanted me to do something and I completely missed it because the conveyance of that is like impossible to read in this level design? I don't know. But it's like, it's like a what do you call it? A give and take kind of thing, because it's like the level design is very unique and very like different, but because of that, I think the platforming design sometimes doesn't do so hot with that. Also, some things about Psychonauts 1 is just like kind of weirdly janky. It's funny, there's a few things in Psychonauts 2 that they didn't fix, and it's like very little things. Like I remember in Psychonauts 1 when you die, it's not like the animation for when you die feels like it's not fully working. It always felt like I would like teleport for a second, or Raz would like freeze, and then I would like go into the little like and then like, you know, blow up or whatever the animation is. And you don't die super often, like insanely often, where it gets like annoying. Like the game isn't like super difficult, but I always noticed that in Psychonauts 1. I always thought the death animation was very janky and weird, and I never thought it was working correctly. And in Psychonauts 2, the same thing happens. There was like plenty of times where I didn't even notice myself die because Rad would just freeze, go into like an A pose, and then it would like cut, and I'm like, what just happened? Also, I won't lie, I soft locked in Psychonauts 2 3 times. And it wasn't like game breaking. The autosave is very generous. Also, amazing feature. I know this video is all over the place and I apologize. I'm just kind of talking about the game. Amazing feature with Psychonauts 2. When you say like return to menu, because you can't manually save, when you return to menu, it tells you how long it's been since this last save had happened. So it'll tell you in like seconds and minutes, which is amazing. Like actually amazing. So like when I soft lock, I would pause and it'd be like, the last time you saved was 40 seconds ago. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'll like reload the save then. Very convenient, and probably there for those kind of reasons. And I mean, like I soft locked from like jumping in between a plant and a wall, and I got like stuck. It happened like 3 times for some reason. Be careful how you use your, I think it happens when you jump off of the bubble and you're in that like free fall state. Yeah, it wasn't like perfect in that scenario, but it was extremely polished compared to the original. Going between the two, it's like night and day. And this game obviously had a lot more time and money put into it, without a doubt. It has more newer technology, more experience, you know, obviously everything that makes a sequel. But it is cool that what 15 years can do to a game. It really does show the distance we've come when it comes to these kind of games, which is awesome. It just makes me feel so good. Man, the environment design in Psychonauts 2 is so damn stellar. It is so frantic. Constantly new set pieces. It is like, even to the very end, I'm thinking about like what I played literally a few hours ago. It was like so much. It's so dense. It's so thick. This game has so much going on in it. It's not just like a few throwaway, good-looking areas. Psychonauts 1 wasn't really like that, too. There was a lot of areas in Psychonauts 1 also. But this game wants to be so unique constantly. It wants to be throwing new things at you constantly. And the best thing about all of that is it's not all for nothing. It all ties into themes that the game is trying to tell, character stories, like actually making you care about the plot that's, you know, unfolding throughout the game. It's all for a reason. Everything feels so meticulously put together on every level, literally every level. And the fact that this game does such a better job in implementing that like wacky and crazy environment design to actual legit platforming. Like there were really cool platforming challenges that nothing was like incredibly hard, but was clever and fun, and it like worked within the context of the world like every time, and it was seamless. It was so seamless, and you don't get games like that very often. You get games that are careful and methodical. Like Mario Odyssey has it in chunks. Like there are some moments that I'm like, oh, this is so clever, and it does it all the time. But then again, you also get to stages that feel so much more created by hand, like on grid paper, if that makes sense. You know, it's like this was made to be a platforming challenge, and that's fine. That's fun. Like there are tons of fun to be had with that. But Psychonauts does this great way of blending those two things together and making this like beautiful package that I'm not going to say is perfect, because it's, you know, honeymoon phasing video game stuff is nearly perfect. It is done incredibly well in this game. One of the best I've ever experienced. Making it, I won't lie, making it on first glance, one of the fucking finest 3D platformers I've ever played in my life. It is so good in that respect. And it's funny because you go through stuff so fast that I think some people might play through this game, love it and experience it, but won't really appreciate those little details everywhere, constantly for. And so I just saw an article. Literally, I was searching like Psychonauts 2 just a second ago, just to see if I can get like a level list, just to refresh my memory. This article, Psychonauts 2 short length is one of its best features. And I'm like, okay, it was like 12 hours, 13 hours long. How long was it? Can I see my playtime? Is that even possible in this? I cannot. That's annoying. It's not short. It's not like an RPG length, but it can't be. It literally can't be. Like, I don't know how you could. I was like surprised at the length of it. I was genuinely surprised it was going on as long as it was, and there were so many areas they wanted to show me, because like, you know, I was going through these areas. I'm like, this is so dense and rich in terms of content and like just detail. How many of these could they have made? Like, they couldn't have made that many. And they keep throwing levels at you. They keep throwing them at you. There's probably a dozen, maybe 15 stages, like unique, like, you know, brain mind stages, like Psychonauts 1, where you go into the head of somebody. There are like 15 of those, or maybe, yeah, probably 15. I actually don't know for sure, but I'm curious on Psychonauts level list. Let's see. List of locations in Psychonauts 1. Okay, but like, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's definitely more than that. I know for a fact there's more than that. So the, okay, I'll have to look at the game because I don't trust this wiki right now. There's a lot of like unique locations. Take my fucking word for it. I'm not lying. There's a lot of unique locations, and it is super impressive. And I wasn't expecting it to be long, you know, like it can't be. It only has so much time it was worked on for, and everything they give you is beyond fucking quality. It's so good. The boss fights are really clever and fun. I will say some of them were a little janky. The combat's still not perfect. I think 3D platformers and combat just like don't get along. Like, I can't really name a 3D platformer with good combat, like, per se. This might be some of the best, which is sad. I mean, like, does anyone know what like a Hat in Time's combat's like? It's like non-existent. Or like, I don't even know, like any platformer. I'm trying to think of like more like smaller platformers, like Ty the Tasmanian Tiger. Like, you just throw some projectiles. Or even Mario Odyssey. Like, is there combat in Mario Odyssey? Not really. It's just like, in some 3D Mario games, there's like a 3-hit combo, but the games like Mario Sunshine, there really isn't even combat. Like, it's like every enemy can be dealt with the same exact fucking way. Psychonauts 2 wants you to use its mechanics. Like, you know, you have a bunch of offensive abilities that they expect you to use during the fight, and they do a pretty good job, I'd say. The game could use a few quality of life things in that regard. One thing that I heard some people complaining about before I played it, and it's true, is you're in the menu a lot because of that. It's amazing how useful abilities like Levitate are, the one with the ball, or like Psyblast, but you have to equip them. But it's like, I would never unequip Psyblast and the levitation spell. Like, it's just like, I would never want to do that. They're so useful. They're like infinitely useful. And then like most of the time you want like, usually want like fucking fire or something. And so I'm like, 3 of my slots are usually always taken up, and there'll suddenly be enemies that can only be defeated with a different ability. And I'm like, okay, time to go into the menu, switch that out. And then another enemy spawns. I'm like, okay, I have to use the grabbing one for that. Okay. And I switch out that, and it's like, okay, more enemies spawn with the fire. I switched out the fire. Fuck. And then I switched back to the fire. And I think it could have helped if 2 abilities like levitate, and it sucks because there's only so many buttons on your controller. So, and I'm trying to think about it, and it's like, were there buttons that you didn't use? Not really. And like, it's convenient that they're all on the L and R buttons, but it would have been nice if there was some solution to making Psyblast and levitation constant, and then the rest of your abilities you can, because if that was the case, I would never have an issue. I would have to go into the menu a few times in the game probably, because, you know, you set a few abilities, and like whenever I need to use like clairvoyance, I could switch to clairvoyance, or the little like archetype ability, I could switch to that. But like anything else, I would probably keep, like, you know, the grappling hook ability, the fire ability, the time stop ability, like those. They're like a few abilities that are extremely useful that you use almost throughout the entire game in different instances. Yeah, it's weird. I I don't know how they would have fixed it, but it's one of those things that could have been fixed probably. And the combat, again, still is a little janky. Like I said with the death animation thing, sometimes I die and I'd be like, did I just die? I don't really 100% know what's happening. Sometimes I'd be fighting a boss fight and I'm like, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? I'm just kind of like circle strafing this guy and like on my ball and just kind of shooting at him until he's dead. And it's like, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Is there like a gimmick to this that I'm missing? Not perfect, but oh my god, it's better than Psychonauts 1. I've been playing, like, again, been playing Psychonauts 1 a little bit, or watching it, and it's like, damn, the combat in this game was rough. And like, again, I can't name a platformer with good, like, genuinely good combat. Maybe like Ratchet and Clank has decent combat, but like, again, nothing like super spectacular. Like a few hit combos and then your guns, which are like the main mechanic of that game. But yeah, overall, I mean, it's better. It's better than the first game, and doesn't take away anything. I cannot stress that enough. Any nitpicks I have with this game do not take away anything from this game. Also, I forgot to mention this. I actually got it on Game Pass, and if anyone's interested in playing this game, by the way, I won't lie, I don't like Game Pass personally. I could make an entire video just about my issues with that business model in general, but it's a good deal. And I downloaded Game Pass for $1 for the first month, canceled my resubscription immediately, like my auto renewal, just like, it's like, okay, I just need this for the month. And you get Psychonauts 1 and 2 for free or for $1, basically, 50 cents each, and a bunch of other games. But yeah, day one, I was there the minute this game went up and I was playing it. That's how fucking excited I was. Oh, I could go on and on. But point is, Psychonauts 2 made me feel things that I have not felt with a video game in a long time. And it sucks because sometimes I'll get a little cynical being like, am I ever going to feel that again? It's like Mario Odyssey was so specifically special to me, or A Hat in Time was so much fun recent, like, you know, in the last like 5 years. It's like those games were so specifically special to me. Will I ever experience that again? And it's like, give it a few years and there's some games that will surprise you, that will really, you know, it's like, I'm just happy. I'm just happy it exists. And it makes me happy that I was able to play this and experience it. I'm definitely going to be 100%ing it, which I don't do often with video games. But if you haven't played Psychonauts, please get it. It's so much fun. First game, they're not super long, like the games, like that fucking article, like the short length is part of its charm or whatever. It's like, they're like 10 hours long each, probably, maybe 12. So it's like, it's not that big. It's not that big of a commitment. And they're worth it. They are so fucking worth it. Just the story and the characters alone are so charming and fun. And the second game is just so fucking good. I cannot stress that enough. It's so fucking good. But yeah, anyway, thank you for listening to me rant. I just want to gush about this video game that I love. I love video games, man. Video games are fucking awesome. And when they're good, they're fucking good, man. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time. Let me know if you've played Psychonauts 2 and what you think of it, because, man, it's hitting me like a fucking truck. So, yeah, I will talk to you all later.